person, Honorable GLC Brahim. If you are following, can you kindly unmute your microphone and just tell us shortly where you are joining us from and your expectation for today's program? Brahim, are you there? Okay, fast forward. We'll move to the next person, John J. M. Zion. John J., are you there?
Yep.
Okay.
Uh, as my name indicate, I'm John J. MCM, currently joining from Siang City, Shanxi Province.
All right. So just shortly, can you kindly tell us where you are, your expectation for today's programming? What
My
do you
expectation,
expect?
yes, what do I expect is that looking at the theme of the program and looking at the speaker, I think it's someone that been the highly got knowledge on diplomacy. So my expectation from today's program will hardly be diplomacy. I expect a high level of knowledge from the veteran there to serve in leadership that will be great for me tomorrow.
All right. Thank you. And we move to the senior man, Jeremiah J. Yene. Senior man,
Yes,
are you there?
can you hear me?
Yes, please.
The joint conference.
Can you kind of be audible a little bit?
Oh, I'm Jeremiah J. Yene, lecturer in computer science and technology at Jiangsu Normal University, resides in Jiangsu Province, Suzhou City.
What's your expectation for today's program?
Nothing much. I did. My expectation for this program is to improve, learn new skill, learn new knowledge.
Okay. So we thank you for sharing with us. We'll move to the next person. Key Ignatus Ba. If you are there, can you kind of unmute your microphone and just let us know you and your expectation for today's program? Key Ignatus Ba, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Ignatius Kwekuba. I'm the president for Jinhua City.
Okay.
Well, my expectation for this meeting, I look forward to expanding my knowledge on diplomacy because I think the goal is to come and learn more from our senior brother about the diplomacy and service, the more steps we can take in being of service to our people, and how diplomacy works in general. So I'm just here to learn more in order to be a better person, a better leader now and in the future.
All
Thank you.
right. Thank you so much for sharing the perspective of us.
So,
If you are just joining the platform and I have not recognized you yet, can you kindly unmute your microphone and introduce yourself and tell us your expectation for today's program? Okay, I want to recognize few high-ranking officials here tonight. Within the next few minutes, 2 or 3 minutes from now, we will commence this event. Well, in the meantime, I'd like to recognize the presence of our national president, His Excellency Honorable Orlando Tiablo. Sir, you are welcome. And I also want to recognize the presence of our national vice president, Our Excellency Honorable Rufin M. Hammer. Alma, you are welcome as well. And also joining us is the National Deputy Secretary General, Honorable Jenkins G. Wilson. Sir, you are highly recognized and welcome as well. And also the National Treasurer, the woman who, she's the void of LSURC. And she keep all of our money. So you are welcome as well, Honorable Janet Bona. Thank you for joining. And also want to recognize our speaker for tonight's program, Honorable Aaron T. Guanue. Sir, thank you for also joining in time. So also joining us tonight is our 3.0 guest speaker, Mr. Madison J. Lamy. Sir, you are highly welcome and thank you for joining as well. And I just saw someone who just joined the president for my city, Chengdu. But Dave, thank you for joining as well. So yes, within the next 2 minutes, we start. So if you are there following us right now, and that best friend of yours have not yet joined, please reach out to them and encourage them to join the platform. You don't want to, acquire all of the knowledge and leave your friends behind. Take them along with you, please. Encourage somebody, tell someone to join the event for tonight, because diplomacy and service is a topic that is an involving topic and that require expert like our speaker to open our eyes and our perspective towards it. Some of you are thinking about studying international relations. If you are that person, then tonight's event is for you. Even if you are not that person, life happens and people see themselves in another career path. You could be that person tomorrow. Who knows? You might study civil engineer. At the end of the day, you see yourself in a diplomatic field. So wherever you are and whatever career path you are treading on right now, this event is also for you. So thank you for joining. Who is this person I just joined? Oh no. Who is this person I just joined? Oh no, 9X.
Diamond.
Okay, Diamond.
Yeah, I dropped the call phrase because of my internet.
Okay, it's fine. Okay, another person joining us tonight. My eyes really pass away. Oh my God, I don't want to get in problem. So we have a representative from the Academic Excellence Committee, the Honorable Secretary General, Honorable Quinetta Darius Johnson. Thank you, Honorable, for joining us tonight. The President is highly recognized. Thank you so much to all of us. Okay, so with not much ado, we're about to start tonight. Honorable Jenkins, if you are there, kindly start the live.
Yeah, the
Yes.
live started ever since like I think 5 minutes ago.
Okay, so officially this event is called to order, and I'm your humble MC for tonight's event. I'm going to be taking you through beginning now to the end. So this is the Legacy Hour 4.0 with Honorable Aaron Torwah Guanue. And our topic for tonight's event is diplomacy and service. So officially, this event is called to order, and I'll just tour you through the agenda for tonight. We are done with the first two items on the agenda, and then we'll move to opening prayer. That will be done by our National Chaplain General, Honorable Michelle Vampe, and welcome statement will be done by our National Vice President, Our Excellency Honorable Rufiam Hammer. And then we move quickly to our business session. On our business session, we'll have the introduction of the guest speaker, and that will be done by Honorable Jenkins G. Wilson. He is the National Deputy Secretary General. Then, right after that, fast forward, we'll move to the message from the guest speaker, Honorable Aaron Torwah Guanue. And thereafter, we take the interaction with the guest speaker, that is the Q&A session. And that will be between the speakers and that of the audience. And after that, we'll take remarks from the audience, NEC, and that of the speaker for tonight. So, having gone through the agenda for tonight's event, we commence right away by taking our opening prayer, and that will be done by our National Chaplain General, Honorable Michelle. If you are there, can you kindly unmute your microphone? Just give us the word of prayers tonight.
Let us pray. Our Lord and our God, we say thank you for today. Thank you for all you've done and all you continue to do. We commit the speaker into your hands, and you fill him, O God, with the spirit of boldness, that he may speak to the minds and the heart of the people here, dear leaders and members, and those following us via the Facebook Live. We commit this entire time into your hands, and we pray for every other members and other scholars that should be here but probably not reminded. Holy Spirit, may you help us to remind them. We pray for peace, we pray for unity, we pray for development, and we pray to God for progress. We pray to God for your provision during this time of the festive season. Take preeminent and absolute control, now and forevermore. Amen.
All right. Thank you so much, Honorable President, for that round of prayer. Moving forward, we will take the next item on our agenda that has to do with the welcome statement. That will be done by our National Vice President, Honorable Rufiam Hammer. If you are there, can you kindly unmute your microphone
Yes, please.
and welcome your people?
Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
That's wonderful. Good evening to everyone, to the scholars here in China, and to those following us on Facebook from Liberia. I'd like to say a pleasant good afternoon to you. So my name is Rufin M. Harmon, and I am your National Vice President. And on behalf of the National Executive Committee, I extend a warm welcome to you. Thanks so highly for joining the 4th edition of the Legacy Hour. And tonight, as we dive into diplomacy and service, which is a very crucial topic for us as future leaders, we are honored to have with us the first Secretary of the Liberian Embassy in Paris, Honorable Aaron T. Guanue. And tonight's session, like I've said before, is for us students and also to young professionals to gather real insights and inspiration for your path in global service. So, without further ado, let's begin. Welcome and thanks for being here.
All right. Thank you so much for that welcome statement. And we moved to the next aspect of our agenda, and it has to do with the business discussion. And on the business discussion, we will take the introduction of the guest speaker, and that will be done by our National Deputy Secretary General, Honorable Jenkins G. Wilson. Sir, if you are there, you can kindly
Okay.
unmute.
Good evening to you all. I'm so sorry for the poor quality of my voice. The cool in myself rising up a little bit. Okay, so it is our honor and privilege to introduce Mr. Aaron T. Guanue, the first Secretary and Consul at the Embassy of the Republic of Liberia, France. Mr. Guanue is a seasoned diplomat and consular professional with over a decade of experience in foreign service, international relations, and public administration. In his current role, he represents Liberia diplomat interests while overseeing comprehensive consular operations, including citizen protection, visa and passport services, notarial function, crisis response, and advocacy for welfare of Liberian national abroad. He brings strong expertise in diplomat engagement, political and economic reporting, public diplomat, and bilateral cooperation. Mr. Guanue is widely respected for his ability to navigate complex international environments, build efficient partnership with host government officials, international organizations, and diaspora communities, and ensure the efficient delivery of consular services in line with international standards. Before his posting in Paris, Mr. Guanue served at Liberian Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Monrovia as a desk officer for the Mano River Union, as well as education and cultural cooperation. He also worked as a research analyst, providing strategic, geopolitical, economic, and security analysis to support evidence-based foreign policy decision-making. Mr. Guanue holds a Master's of Law in International Relations from the Jinan University in China and a bachelor degree in International Relations from Conventage University in Uganda. He has completed several professional certificates in leadership, diplomacy, and international development. So, ladies and gentlemen, can you join me as we welcome Mr. Aaron T. Guanue, our speaker for tonight? Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Guanue, if you are there, you can kindly unmute your microphone and take over the electronic platform.
Am I clear?
Yes, please.
Okay. Let me use these mediums to extend my warm thanks and appreciation to the Excellency, the President, and his School of Officer for the invitation extended to me. I think many of you on this platform know me. We have interacted when I was in China. We most of them met at Shanghai during the Lusu Leadership Convention. And we're still moving. So I want to be grateful to you all who have left your busy schedule to join this discussion. Again, good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Before we start this discussion, let me just, I want to appreciate few people who have contributed meaningfully to my journey. So let me first of all start by appreciating my mom for bringing me forth to this world. And I want to also appreciate Her Excellency, the Foreign Minister of the Republic of Liberia, Manasera Beslo Nyanti, who saw talks and believe in some of us, to bring us to this level. I also want to thank the President of the Republic of Abroad, the Excellency President Joseph Yimo Boakai. After our nominations, when they reached him, they did not hesitate but to approve our nomination. I want to thank the President and his government for the trust put in us. I also want to thank His Excellency Ambassador Tigo Yole, the ambassador to the Republic of France, who since our arrival yet in October and August, he have worked with us closely, making us to understand about service. And I'm grateful that the topic was brought up by the losing leadership, most especially the president, asking me to talk about diplomacy and service. Because when I arrived in Paris, I met a team, and sometimes in life, it's always good to live a life where people will speak for you. So prior to my appointment in April 2025, most of my colleagues here, were asking people, who is this Iran guy? And everyone they reached out to, there was some good news, some bad news. And when I arrived the entire mission staff, be a local or diplomatic officer, welcoming, making me to feel like home. I spent less than a week. I was like, I'm already home because everyone opened up to me and we started to work in the interest of Liberia. In no time, we secured a first state visit for the president after his elections in 2023. And the president came to France and met President Macron. That was a fruitful, engagement. And today we are happy that many French businesses are going back to Liberia to help develop our countries and employ our people. So here at the embassy of Liberia near Paris, we have 6 other countries that we, supersede. We have France, who happen to be the host country. We also have Spain, Monaco, Switzerland, Greece, Portugal, and Cyprus. So one of the things the ambassador did was that, okay, since we all based in Paris, he gave all the tax, John Brown, you will supersede this country and make sure that you report on the country in terms of political, social, and economic happening. So at least we can track our activities and see how best we can engage from the diplomatic standpoints that will benefit our country, which we have been doing successfully. So again, let me thank the leadership of LUSU for organizing this sessions, and I hope we all will have the discussions that will benefit us in the future, today, and the day to come. So today's session will focus on 2 closely connected concepts that are essential to effective leaderships, meaningful relationships, and organizational success. That is diplomacy and service. So before I start, let me first of all start to describe or define leadership. So the leadership often described in terms of authority, okay, influence, technical expertise. However, lasting, incredible leadership, whether in public services or businesses, education, community life, depends largely on the ability of ones to manage relationships with tight empathy, respect, while remaining genuinely committed to the well-being of others. Okay, that is how you serve, your role how you navigate your way through in terms of, relating with your colleagues, in terms of relating to people outside, in terms of relating to people that are not in your circle. So it is at these intersections, that diplomacies and service, come together to, work together in terms of, giving results. So what are the objectives of our today lecture? Okay. So by the end of these sessions, I believe, okay, and you should also believe in yourself that each participant here will be able to understand the core concepts of diplomacies and service. At the end of this lecture series, we should be able to recognize the role of diplomacy in personal and professional interactions with one another as we move towards our, career path, whether in foreign service, whether at home office, whether at different ministries and agencies, we should be able to, understand and navigate our ways through. After this session, I also believe that we should be able to examine, service as a guiding principles, okay, for leadership and community building. I also believe at the end of this session, we should be able to identify practical strategies, for applying diplomacies and service in our everyday life, be it in leadership, be it not in leadership, be it at foreign service, be it at home office, be it at Ministry of Education, Ministry of Justice, Health Ministries, wherever we find ourselves in, we should be able to, understand these things and move along with it as we move forward with our daily professional life. So let us start by the first topic, diplomacy. I want us to understand diplomacy as, as we go along. So let us begin with diplomacy, like I said. So while the term is often associated with international relations, as you read my profile, I did my both bachelor's and master's in international relations. Okay, but diplomacy applies just as powerfully to everyday interactions. At its core, diplomacy is ability to manage relationship, okay, thoughtfully, resolve differences constructively, and also promote cooperations. How do we manage our relationships with our friends? How do we manage our relationship with our colleagues at work? How do we manage our relationship with our colleagues in leadership? How do we manage our relationship with people who does not agree with us? How do we manage our relationship with them? How do we resolve our differences with others? How do we resolve problems when there's conflict? How do we promote cooperation in the interest of our country, in the interest of ourselves, without allowing other parties to feel disenchanted? These are tools that we need to understand as we move along with this lecture series. So diplomacy requires clear communications, okay? It also requires emotional awareness, okay? Because at some point in time, when you engage in diplomacy, when engaging with your colleagues, there are some things they may say to you that will not be in your interest. How do you address what have been said or what will be said to you during that particular period of time? Okay. Then also the strategic judgment. There are sometimes there will be an issue where your country will probably be vying for some opportunity again. And other countries will be vying for the same position. How do you navigate your way through strategically in making sure that, okay, people will listen to you and buy your ideas and accept to, support you in your bid for XYZ positions. Okay? So diplomacy allows individuals or leaders to address challenges without damaging your relationship with other people. Okay, like I said, how do we navigate our way through in terms of our engagement with our colleagues, be it at work, be it in the international arena, be it in leadership, and so forth. So let us also look at key elements of diplomacy. Okay, So diplomacy, like I said, all about effective communications. How do you communicate effectively for someone to understand and buy your ideas without you having or coming in conflict with said person? Expressing ideas clearly and respectfully. So when I came to Paris a few months ago, the session that I held, the counselor session, like the gentleman was, reading piece of my profile and talk about issuing of visas, all of legal documents, and also making sure that Liberians who live abroad, who does not have access to passport, how do you talk to them in making sure that they understand the process so they can be, like, oh, I'm a Liberian and I want a passport, but they don't want to give me the passport. There are procedures you have to, the way you talk to them respectfully and make them to understand, the process, then it make them to be at ease in terms of, how they go about engaging you for the next time. Another issue that we have encountered since our, taking over at the Paris mission is how to do with other Liberians who also live outside Paris. Like I previously said, the embassies in Paris cover 6 other countries. There are some Liberians who left and came to Liberia using other means. I mean, they came to Europe using other means. And some of them, they don't have documents. Sometimes somebody will say, look, I need a document. I'm a Liberian, everybody. Then you ask the person question, what are your proof? They get angry at me. They will start to blast. No, I'm a Liberian. This everything. All of it. The way you talk to them respectfully, the way you clearly share your ideas and make them to understand this is how it's supposed to be, this is how it's supposed to be, these are documents that you need, these are proof that you need, all the XYZ, and make them to understand, make them to calm down. Okay, so these are also elements of diplomacy that allow you to navigate your way through effectively communicating with people without, making them to feel that, you know what I mean. So the emotional intelligence aspect, how do we recognize and manage one's own emotions while emphasizing with others? Okay, for example, during the bid for Liberia at the non-permanent members of the Security Council, I was opportune to travel with my boss, my former boss, Ibrahim Yen. We went to Algeria. So we had a conference in Algeria, in Oran. So that night we went there and we started to convince, other Arabic countries, making them to understand why Liberia should serve as a non-permanent member at this time on the Security Council. And guess what? Why in that process, country that Algeria were focusing on, they're not even discussing our issue, but they're discussing the issue of the Sahel regions, they in Morocco, why Liberia should support them, what have you. So, as a diplomat, a way in which you fit yourself in these circumstances emotionally, expressing your interest without harming other people. Mind you, Morocco has been, supporting Liberia, doing from Manasarita or to former President Weah in terms of scholarships, allotment, in terms of, infrastructure development. Like the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has also benefited from Morocco, finances. So in order to convince Algeria, without making Morocco to feel somehow, what message are you going to give at that period? Emotionally, how will you be able to convince Algeria that Algeria should support you, at the same time convincing Morocco to support you? On both parties, there are conflicts and wanting you to come in between, knowing very well you need that support. So these are things, these are elements that people should master when it comes to, navigating your way through in diplomacy. Okay? Another elements of diplomacy have to do with negotiation skills. In terms of negotiation skills, how do we seek solutions that acknowledge diverse interests? Okay, for example, Liberia is buying for probably seat at the WHO. At the same time, Ghana is vying for the same seat. At the same time, Nigeria is vying for the same seat. For instance, we need support from Nigeria, from Ghana. How do we make our case? How do we explain to them? How do we navigate our ways through in terms of negotiation to make them to understand without not holding on to some of their support towards us, at the same time making them to understand why we are best suited for X, Y, Z position. So these are some of the elements, these are skills that you need as a diplomat to navigate your way through. We'll also come to the issue of cultural awareness. In terms of cultural awareness, respecting differences in values, traditions, and perspective. So, for instance, as a diplomat, you are assigned to probably a country like Congo. Okay, your culture is different, theirs is different. How do you navigate your way through in respecting their cultures, in making sure that you also maintain your own values, your own cultural values? I mean, in order to have a common ground, in order to have an environment where everybody will feel at ease. Another issue, for example, you are a mediator between two conflicting parties. Okay, probably their issue is all about cultural differences. How do you also manage to navigate your way through in respecting both cultural, in making sure that you bring such situation in under control? These are all elements of diplomacy. These are tools that you need as a diplomat to navigate your way through in terms of the work that we do as a diplomat. Okay, so let me get an example. Consider a team disagreement regarding project responsibility. So a diplomatic approach will involve the first thing you do as a diplomat when you find yourself in this kind of situation, you listen carefully to each party. I mean, while they talk, you're always listening, When you finish listening, you're acknowledging the valid concern. You also acknowledge their valid concern. Someone will explain their part of the story. The other part will explain that part of the story. By listening carefully, you also understand their valid concern and know how to deal with them from different perspectives, so both parties can be satisfied and have a concluding, solutions. Okay. So another thing we do as a diplomat is working collaboratively towards a balanced and fair solution. So as a diplomat, when you find yourself in these kind of situations, after you listen carefully, acknowledging both parties concerned, you work closely with both parties, balancing your thoughts, your points, making sure that both parties are not feel hurt, they are both satisfied, to have an amicable solution. So these are some of the process of diplomat, some of the things that diplomats do, in making sure that they handle conflict from both angles. Okay. So diplomacy is not about avoiding conflict. No, not at all. You cannot avoid conflict. Rather, it is about managing disagreements, okay, in a way that preserves trust and enable continued collaboration. So we can never avoid conflict. No, conflict is part of our everyday lives. Conflict is part of our everyday activities. At work, at home, wherever we find ourselves, there will always be conflict. How do we navigate our way through? How do we manage? How do we understand it? Depends on the way in which we navigate. We understand until we handle this conflict that arises across our daily activities. So, diplomacy in actions, your workplace communications and negotiations, they are all part of our daily activities. Community conflict resolutions is what we do. Cross-cultural and international engagements, these are things that are normal in our daily activities, in our daily lives when it comes to diplomacy. Customers and client relations, like I was just telling you, our engagement, because we refer to them as our clients. Somebody want to go to Liberia, normally our visa process, let's assume our visa process, when you apply for the visa, you submit the documents, give you like 1 week or 2 weeks, to issue a visa. Then if you don't want to pass through the loan process, you apply for an express emergency visa, maybe 2 days. But then let's assume that you apply for your visa, the normal process. You're probably living outside Paris, maybe from Spain. You send your documents through the post. Then probably there's a change. How do we talk to you to make you to understand that this is how it's supposed to be, how it's supposed to be? Because some clients, the first thing want to call, they start to blast at you. I mean, they are, because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know their situations, okay? The way you interact with them, the way you talk to them, and make them to feel comfortable in making sure that they do business with you, because we are, they pay money for services and we deliver these services, but you don't deliver these services because they feel that, okay, uh, they pay money, so you treat them anyhow. No, you talk to them politely, and that's the kind of training that we have undergone over years, how to talk to our clients. I mean, the public, in terms of understanding some of our activities at the embassies, even from home office and so forth. Because I also serve as desk officer when I was back home at MRU, that is the Man River Union, and I also desk officer for education and cultural corporations. So at some point in time, somebody gets scholarships or short training programs they want to go to. They expect you to perform miracle, calling you, even when you are sleeping, they're calling you. How do you manage to, talk to them in a way that they will understand, they will calm down, their attention will go their way? Because we have our own problems, sometimes we will have a bad day, we will engage other people, the way you talk to somebody on the phone. But you as a diplomat, you should be in that position to understand that, people are going through some problems. Okay, so when they call you, even when they're expressing anger, you come down and just try to be soft, making sure that you cool them down, so at least you guys can communicate on the same, on the same level. So that's all about diplomacy. There are a lot about diplomacy, but these are just, from from the topic, on a discussion. These are just few things I would like to share with you from the diplomatic standpoint. As a diplomat, what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to handle conflict. I mean, how you're supposed to navigate your way through, how to deal with two parties, to have a balance, solutions where no party will feel that you're supporting one party and leaving the other one. So these are just few tips of diplomat. So before we go to the next topic, I don't know if I should continue to flow in terms of understanding services, or I should just stop here and allow people to ask questions or share their views. I don't know what you make of it, moderator.
Yes, so you can just claim us within the next 3 to 5 minutes, and we can transition
So
to the Q&A session.
okay, so we're done with diplomacy. So we coming to service, understanding service. So let us now turn to the concept of service. So like we discussed, diplomacy service involves placing the needs of others alongside or at times above your own needs. So I said so many things, about, when you home, then somebody call you, they want you to run out a service for them, even though they're paying for it, but at some point down they will make it look like, I mean, they need it at that point in time. How do you navigate your way through making them understand? So service, like I said, involve placing the needs of others, alongside, either on the same path or at times above your own needs, contributing to common good and creating value beyond your personal benefits. Okay. So in leadership studies, that approach, which I did when I was doing my master, is often described as 7 leadership. Okay. So the principles of service. So empathy, understanding the experience and needs of all. It's all about service. Your commitment, honoring responsibilities and following through on promises. Okay. Selflessness, acting with concerns of collective well-being. Support, that is empowering all to grow, and succeed. So, for instance, our ambassador normally, when we start our week, everybody's supposed to report on their assigned country. Then we supposed to report, report on assigned country, report on the council, sections, and also report on the issue of finances and all of this. So ambassador gave you the opportunity, advise you guys, train you, and also promote you and make you to understand that, look, this is not about me and ambassador, it's about you all, because one day you can be an ambassador, you'll be a foreign minister, and tomorrow I may not be up there. How will you be able to react to me when you see me? Okay? And it all goes to all of us as we, are striving to get at the top level. We talk about ethical conduct, demonstrating integrity, okay? Fairness and accountabilities. These are all part of, service. So let me just give an example. A manager who invests time in monitoring, team members, supporting their professional developments, and removing obstacles to their success is practicing service. Okay, even small actions such as assisting your, colleagues with private tax deadlines, also reflect a service-oriented mindset. So, for example, the president will tax you all, and look, Madam Vice President, you need to do this, to make sure that, we succeed. And when you're doing this, these are things that you will learn from it. And you also, as a Vice President, also making sure that you also mentor those who honor you at a same level and making them feel that we all are part of this. We all are equally contributing towards it. At the end of the day, everybody will on top. Okay, then you as a leader, you may not know that, okay, the glory belongs to you, but as you continue to, invest in other people by mentoring them, by growing them, by correcting them, it also reflects back on you, because whenever they succeed, it also reflects on, because wherever they go, they will always, appreciate you, like I appreciating my bosses, for their role, in my development, in getting me here and what have you. That's how service is supposed to be. Putting your below other people, making sure that you promote or making sure that you mentor people and help them to grow and be somebody in society. Okay? So service strengthens trust and credibilities. Normally, leaders who serve all of the, create the environments where individuals will feel valued, okay, supported, and motivated to contribute their best effort in making sure that whatever they are in will be at top level, because everybody will be on the same path, making sure, because when you do things, that your leaders want you to do, pushing you to a high level, you feel you are part of it, you want to give your best, making sure that it succeeds. And that's what we've been doing at the Paris region. Thanks to the Excellency Tico Yole, who have exhibited, that kind of leadership style. Okay? So service in different contexts. So organizations and international or institutional leadership, community engagement, volunteerism, families and interpersonal relationships, professional mentorship and coaching, which are mentioned, here several times in terms of how we serve other people, above our own needs, making sure that they succeed and, put them at the top, okay? So diplomacy and service are most effective when we practice both of them together, okay? Because leadership that combine diplomatic skills with service-oriented, mindset is both compassionate and credible to succeed and make sure that, whatever you do, you'll be on top, okay? So diplomacy plus service normally will be equal to effective leadership, like I explained, over and over. So diplomacy enabled respectful communication, like I said, and constructive problem solving, while service ensure decisions are guided by the best interest of others, not your own interest. Put your interest below and make sure you place other people's interests, above you. Because when you are top, you try to bring people to your level. That tomorrow, when they see you tomorrow, they will be able to appreciate you. Okay. So service ensure decisions are guided by the best interests of others. Together, they cultivate trust. Service and diplomacy cultivate trust, in terms of collaborations and long-term success. So let's take a case that imagine a community, resources and competing, stakeholder prioritizing. So a leader guided by diplomacy and service will listen respectfully to all stakeholders, access, and prioritize the most pressing issues, and develop a balanced, inclusive plans. That leader will be able to implement solutions with transparencies and accountability. I keep emphasizing on transparency and accountability because it's what makes us to be who we are. The more transparent we are to people that honor us, the more respect they build for us and speak for us outside there when we are not present. Okay? So this approach, transforms potential conflict into cooperations and transactional interactions into lasting relationships, yeah. So benefit of interacting diplomacy, integrating diplomacies and, service. So what it does, stronger professionals and community relationship, it build it. It also increase trust and credibility. They have greater influence and positive impact. They also, sustain organizations and social outcome. Okay. So understanding these concepts is very important. Okay. But applying them consistently is what makes a difference. So practical strategies for a diplomat, practical active and attentive listening is very important. Okay, be able to pause before responding when you are in a gallery or when you are having discussions or when you are probably in a conflict situation where you resolving conflict among two parties. Be able to listen to them. Okay, pause, then you respond emotionally so you can be able to change the situations. Okay, always use constructive languages such as, rather than assigning blames, to one party, making one party to feel guilty. No, always make sure you have a balance, situations. So to not escalate the conflict that you're trying to resolve. Okay, always seek to understand the device perspective and the cultural context, in that particular situation, in that particular environment. So for service, look for opportunities to assist others, without expecting recognitions. They will recognize you in the future, like somehow we're doing to people that came before us. Okay, always support your mentors and colleagues, or your peers, making sure you bring them up to your level. Engage in community or volunteer initiatives. Reflect regularly on ethical decisions and their broader impact. So before I go to the Q&A question, the Q&A aspect of it, diplomacy and service are foundationals to effective leaderships and meaningful human connections. To be frank, diplomacy equips us to navigate, complexities with respect and clarity, while service ensure our actions are grounded in concerns, for others. So together, these principles form a leadership, approach that is called ethical, inclusive, and impactful. As we move forward to our Q&A questions, our Q&A aspect, I will encourage you to reflect on these questions. How can I be a more diplomatic in my interactions and more international in my service, follow each day as it passes. So, Mr. President, Mr. Moderator, and distinguished guests and our listening audience, I would like to stop here and turn over to the moderator to take it from here. If any other thing, I'll come back in to address whatever
Right.
concerns that address.
All right. Thank you so much. If you are still following, can you please go in the chat box and appreciate our speaker with some beautiful emojis? Just one or two lines. Are we following? Am I being heard?
Yes, sir. You're clear.
Okay. So thank you so much, Honorable Guanue, for those informative piece that you've given us tonight. It's insightful, and I must commend you for that. Thank you so much for showing up to share your perspective on the subject matter. So right now we move to the next aspect on our agenda tonight, and that will be the Q&A session. So if you are there and want to ask a question, kindly tap on the reaction and raise your hand, be recognized. And in 30 seconds to 1 minute, you can ask your question, and then we'll give the speaker the opportunity to respond. And also, if you are not in a better position to ask, you can drop your question in the chat box as well. Are we following? Any question, any comment? Any question, any comment? Did everything go down well for us? My people, are we there? All right, I see His Honor, Honorable Marco Sipo Jensen. Sir, can you kind of mute your microphone and ask a question?
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So first, I want to appreciate the presenter. I just have one question and maybe probably two, depending on the answer from the first question. So I listened to the presentation, and it was basically about the role of a diplomat in external, solving external problem and trying to lobby for the country externally. So my question becomes, what role can diplomats play in internal, probably internal conflict or resolving the country internally, where we have diverse parties in the same government? So what role can a diplomat play in resolving such issue or contributing positively to the environment?
Okay. Can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thanks for the questions. When you are a diplomat, most of our internal problems, they are all political problems. Howbeit, as a diplomat representing your country outside, your country, your basic functions or responsibility is one to lobby, outside, Two is to engage, the outside world in making sure that your country is represented, in making sure that whatever your country desire in terms of infrastructure development, in terms of employment, you bring people in, engage people, convince them, and make them to believe that your country is the best. Howbeit, if there's internal conflict, okay, and you are called upon to play a role in bringing that conflict to rest, you use the same tools that you use, externally. That is bringing both parties, first of all, you listen to both parties. Like I said, during my discussion, listen carefully, before you respond. And when you are responding, you don't respond by criticizing one side. No, you respond by making sure both sides are pleased. So normally in diplomacy conflict resolution, there's nobody wrong. Okay? There's nobody wrong. Your aim or your objective is to make sure that you resolve the conflict. How do you resolve the conflict? Is by making sure both parties are equally satisfied. Okay? So in conflict resolution, there's nobody wrong. So your role as a diplomat internally, if we are called upon, is to play the same, role that you have played externally, using your same diplomatic tools and making sure that you contribute, making sure that whatever internal conflicts, that is affecting your country, will come to rest. It's not, you don't have, you will not just work on by yourself and go solve conflicts because you are diplomat. No, you have to be called upon before you can play a role. Okay. Having said that, most of the time we voluntarily play a role by making sure that we all play our own parts in making sure that whatever conflicts that we have internally is resolved. Most of the time they are all political conflicts. So there's no specific tools that should be used or that will be used externally and internally are the same tools that we normally use in solving whatever conflict or whatever differences that we encounter. Yeah, I don't know whether this will satisfy your question, but that's the simplest way that I can explain. Yeah.
Okay, is there any follow-up question?
Yes, so not a question exactly, but the reason why I ask, because mostly our diplomats are branding our country to the outside world. And when you are in the position of branding the country, you might also be concerned that if you tell people to come to my house or try to do something for me, once they come closer, your house should also be in order. So I perceive, that's why I asked the question, that even though our diplomats' basic concern are branding the country, but also they might be eager concern as well about the peace, stability of the country or the economy as well. But thank you for your answer. I appreciate it.
Okay, is there another person who would love to ask? Is there another person? Another question? Remember, Jensen, can you kind of lower your hand, please?
Oh, okay.
Okay, I see the hands of Jeremiah Yene. Sir, kind of unmute your microphone and ask a question.
Yeah, can you hear me? But thank you so much, actually, for let me extend my gratitude and appreciation to Honorable Guanue for his well presentation. It was very clear and something I need to take initiative of. My question is, what is the bigger challenge in diplomacy now? You get my question?
Yeah, I got your question clearly. Okay, so the biggest challenge is there are a lot of challenges in diplomacy as we speak, most especially for country like Liberia. And let me applaud the president for his vision in terms of appointing or excellency Madam Sarah Bester, a foreign minister. So one of the things that we have achieved so far, navigating, or curtailing our challenges that the security, the non-permanent seat at the Security Council, okay? So Liberia, bigger challenge has always been how do we navigate our way through in making sure qualified Liberians are represented or they are representing Liberia in various international organizations. Because when I was in school, I remember in Uganda, a lot of Ugandans, work with UN, the Kenyans, the Ethiopian. And one time I asked my professor, one South African guy was teaching my art, he said, because the country prepare, our citizens, in making sure that these international positions, they are qualified for it. And that has been a challenge for us, but thanks to the ministers, we gradually navigating our way through. Like as it may be aware, Liberia just maintain her seat at the ROM, and we also will be vying for another seat at UNESCO, which we are pushing, making sure that Liberia capture that seat. And we also have our one Dr. Aaron, who was just appointed to AU. I can't remember the position by the ministers. So and the former Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Manadiwa Gray, now sit in Togo, representing ECOWAS there. So these are, a better challenge for us. But like I said, thanks to the ministers, and we are managing our way through, making sure that we infiltrate our way through into the various sectors, because there are a lot of qualified librarians, but how do we, advocate for them, push them, in the national stage? That has been our biggest challenge. But we're getting there. It's not going to be a day job. It's not going to be, a year job, but it requires collective efforts. It requires all of us discussing about the positive things that are happening in our country, as we the diplomats, pushing, from where we sit, making sure that we engage, these international organizations, telling them how Liberia is peaceful, Liberia is good and all that thing. So they can also believe in us and trust when we nominate John Brown with all the credentials. How do we support that? It depends on the kind of person that in charge. But again, we're getting there. We're getting there. Like I just mentioned, few. It's not been easy, but at least we are now finding ourselves very much known in our international space, and we have more work to do. And gradually we are pushing, and the minister is pushing day and night, and the team at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, whenever these things come up, we inform them. They play key roles in supporting it. And and again, the financial aspect has been challenged also, but we what we came from as a country. After 15 years civil war, it required a lot of efforts from you, myself, from any young Liberians. Yeah. So that's what I can say. Yeah.
All right, sir. Thanks so much. Well, honestly.
All right. Thank you again. So, Honorable Guanue, let's talk about, am I being heard?
Yeah, I'm getting you very clear.
Yeah, let's talk about the dilemma of a loyal servant versus moral conscience. Understanding diplomacy from some core principles that has to do with negotiation, like you mentioned in your presentation, and representation and communication, which is the key aspect of diplomacy. I I want to know as a diplomat what that ethical limit of diplomacy where, I mean, serving your country whose action you completely disagree with. If you are confronted with such a situation and your duty is to represent the country in another country and you are confronted with such situation, what are those ethical limits of you as a diplomat?
Okay, so so that's a good question. I'll be very honest in answering your question. So, as a diplomat representing your country, showcasing your countries and pursuing your country interests, there are a lot of challenges or a lot of things you come against. For example, somebody will come to you. It's not me specifically, but I'm just speaking from a general perspective. Uh, and okay, the person want to do business in your country, and you meet the person, you guys discuss or entity. I mean, they express their interest after you wrote them, telling them about how your country is safe, your country is open for business, there are rule of laws, you have constant electricity, constant running water, roads are everywhere, and the person found interest in coming to your country. One of the challenges we face as a diplomat is low income. So it put diplomat in a tight positions, in terms of attempting bribery. But once you believe as a young person, serving your country with integrity and honesty, and you want something good for you, because the first thing, if somebody who taking that money to go invest in your country, okay, to employ your citizen, I mean, somebody will take that hard-earned money and carry their country, then you start to engage that person, requesting for things that does not belong to you. It makes that person to lose interest in your country. The first thing that comes to his or her mind is everybody in that country is corrupt. So why should I even go and go invest my money in that country? So you as a diplomat, like my ambassador always tell us, what belongs to you that is legally yours is your salary and your rent that come to you. Any other thing beyond that, don't go for it, please. And that's what some of us we trying, to build our career, to build our future based on this experience, from people that came before us. So it just left with you as an individual. How do you, where you want to see yourself, what kind of scandal you want to avoid, to not be part of tomorrow, to not be in the media tomorrow, for people to be discussing you, how you so diplomatic, played, all kind of things. And so as a diplomat, I mean, me personally, from my experience and what I've been taught and what I've been told by my bosses and people who taught me from school days is always, try to live that life. Don't live life beyond, your startup. For example, you come
All
to country
right.
like Paris.
So
No, let me
just a follow-up. Thank you so much
okay.
thank you so much for
Yeah,
that. Are you getting me clearer?
very clear.
Okay, so in an event where you you have been assigned as a diplomat in another country, and then your duty is to represent your country. But then your country is taking a decision that goes against your moral standard as a diplomat. How do you handle such a situation?
Yeah, so I don't know which decision that will term as being a moral, standard decision against your decision. Because one thing I want to make it clear is, as a diplomat, you represent the interests of your country. That is clear. So whatever decision your country come, either one, there are two things: either for your moral standards, things that does not align with your principles and what have you, the best thing to
Yes.
do is one, either you resign, you leave the job, okay? But as long it is in the interest of your country, however, you go for it. Yeah, because you serving your as long as it will benefit your country, it will, provide some level of relief for your people. The best that I can do is to go for it. But it's something that does not align with my my how do I put it, my characters or my belief, then you either leave the job or you do what the country wants you to do. Even though I've not experienced that yet, but that is just my thought on that. Yeah.
Okay. I have this last question, and then we
Mhm,
can close. So, as a diplomat,
mhm,
you are assigned in another country,
mhm,
and then you are to report some truth or some true happenings in that country to your country.
mhm,
How do you balance uh, an attempt to report truthfully
mhm.
with uh, the height of maintaining a productive relationship with that host country? For instance, there are some things that the host country is doing, and you, as a diplomat, you want to inform your country about it. Maybe it's probably going against some diplomatic standards, and then you think that it's truth. You report into your country, but
Mhm.
then the host country might see it differently. And to some extent, it might affect the relationship, your relationship with the host country. How do you balance such a reporting?
So for a good diplomat, like from an experience for the past couple of months, for a good diplomat, what I've noticed, what we do here, let me just use a Paris, mission as a case study. So we report weekly every activities that is happening in a safe country honor us. You send a weekly report to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, informing the Foreign Ministry that during this week on a review, we have, for example, protests, or we have XYZ in Paris, in Cyprus, Switzerland, and the list go on. So it is the ministry decisions, or it is the ministry who is supposed to, make a decision in terms of how they communicate to this country. So, for instance, if there's an issue in France that if we report, it will affect our relationship, whether positively or negatively, it is not us that make the decisions. It is the ministry who make the decision with the minister in line with the president. So our job is to inform, home office of what is happening, to where we are assigned, whether are good or bad, whether it will affect Liberia or not. Our work is to report it. It is the ministry, who will make the final decisions in terms of how Liberia will position herself, or what will be Liberia response to XYZ countries in terms of relationship. So it is not our job to decide, no, when we put it 1 year, it will not help our relationship. No, 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 no. It is the ministry who's supposed to decide, in terms of how they handle, said situations. It is not us. Our job is to report, giving a weekly report that we normally do at the mission here and inform home office about the happening. They make the final decisions in terms of how they respond to that country or what have you. Yeah, so that all I can say for that, and that what I know from my standpoint as a diplomat assigned to Paris. It's not all I make the final decisions. No, you there?
Yes, I'm following. Thank you
Yeah.
so kindly for your response. Do we have another person that would like to ask? Are we there? All right, so before we take a leave, let me ask this last question.
Okay.
Uh, what are some basic skills one need to acquire to be a diplomat? Basic skills.
Okay. So, in terms of basic skills, I think I need some when I was doing the explanation. I mean, the communication skills is very important. These are basic skills that are needed for wants to become a diplomat. Negotiation skills, even though you go to school, for example, international relations, where you study these things, and earned a degree in it, but practically you have to understand these things, how to negotiate, how do you, respond to people from emotional standpoints, uh, how you solve common conflict between your peers, at probably loose leadership levels, and from the 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 community standpoints, even from your home, how you solve issues, how both parties in conflicts, how you handle them. Like I said, the first thing you do as a diplomat or as someone who want to become a diplomat is you don't talk too much. You listen more than you talk. Okay. For example, if you trying to solve a conflict, you first of all listen to both parties, they explain, and you don't just run a judgment by telling one party that they wrong. Like I say, in conflict resolution, there's nobody wrong. Okay, so your responsibility as a diplomat, when you want to become a diplomat, is first thing is to make sure that the both parties will come down, and try to uh, uh, collaborate in terms of agreeing to what you want to say is by satisfying both parties, making sure that both parties they are not, guilty, and these are just, a skill that you need. If you can solve conflict between your two friends, who are not speaking for probably more years, because of some reason, and when you bring both of them together, the way you solve their problem, and all of you guys can move as a friends. It's just about, the same thing we do in diplomacy. Okay, when both parties are in conflict, you bring them together and ask questions, listen to them, they explain, then you try to, calm both of them down. So these are just common skills we use it daily in our daily activities. Just at this level now, we try to deal with, countries, international organizations, and what have you. But this thing we do it home, our workplace, and wherever we find ourselves. It's just a level of, let me say, aspect of where we say now we not just, focusing on friendship level now, focusing on country to country, bilateral interest and what have you. But diplomacy is practiced everywhere in our daily life. The same thing people can say, oh, and your pa is the head of the home when somebody, there are two children fighting for maybe food, the way the pa will handle the issue, for everybody to be happy and not fighting. That's the same way with diplomacy. So, I mean, they are just, part of our daily, lives. Just the transformation aspect of, reaching at this level. That's what make it different. But I think we do the whole day. I know in Lusu, we have there was a group that my colleague Madison was heading. There's in the judiciary, how solve problems, when both parties, are conflicting, what have you. So these are just common tools that we are all aware of, but the way you build, only pet your area of expertise and try to bring it at this level is what make it different. But something that we do in our daily life. I don't know whether I answer your question, but that's just it. Yeah.
Okay, so I believe this aspect of this event is about interaction. So the more you speak, a lot runs to mind. I want to ask this question. There is this common saying that says, "Where diplomacy and war begins." Can you throw light on it? How how do people reach that point? Because I believe that issues should be resolved through negotiation. People coming on a round table and discussing things. So, how do people get to that point of considering war as the best option?
Okay. There's a common saying that whenever there's peace, you prepare for war. So when there's war, you also prepare for peace. So my own understanding in diplomacy, for example, sometimes one of the mistakes that we make as a diplomat or negotiator is not listening carefully to understand the root cause of some of these problems that we claim to come and solve. So that's why during my presentation, I said, as a diplomat, it's good to listen carefully. And we listen carefully, you respond respectfully for all of your own emotion, for all of your own interest. So the reason for which most of the time we will hear say, okay, the country X and country Y signed a peace agreement. For example, let's look at the issue of Israel. So the US has always had interest in Israel, as we all may be aware. Okay, so US sent a negotiator to go to Israel to go negotiate between Israel and Palestine. We are human beings. We always have a side, but the courage and the understanding of a diplomat to understand that in their role, it is not about their feeling, it is not about their interest, it is about the interest of both parties. How do you resolve this conflict? So if you are probably a lead negotiator that go to negotiate between Israel and Palestine, the way in which you would discuss the issue. At some point in time, the other aggrieved party will want to probably free themselves a little bit to regroup and come back and say, okay, no problem, we agree. Let's sign a peace deal. Knowing fully well within themselves that they're not in with the intention of solving this problem. Okay? So as a diplomat, my thing or my thought is whenever we find ourselves in this situation, let us take away, our self-interest and put on the table the interest of both parties. Like I said, don't always accuse one party of being wrong. So most of the time, the way in which we negotiators go in, our intentions, whenever one party feel, dissatisfied and feel that you are laying on the other side, you can sound 100 peace, they'll always come back, the same conflict, will always, arise because one party will always feel dissatisfied because your negotiation was not a balanced one. That's why I say in my presentation, always learn to balance your negotiation. Okay? Don't lay on one side and make one side to feel that they are wrong or they're not being respected. At the end of the day, there will always be conflict until we can learn that and try to balance our negotiation skills in terms of satisfying both parties, not accusing one or not laying on one side. You can sign 100 peace agreement or all do what I've been seeing in Asia and I've seen what I've been seeing in Ukraine. So I mean, these are people that are more experienced than some of us. What we said, But from our own layman thinking and from our own, understanding diplomacy, it's all about being balanced. As long as you're not balanced, there'll all be conflict. I don't care you sign 100 peace agreement. The conflict will not stop until you can balance yourself or bring neutral people that will be, that will speak from a balanced, standpoints and try to calm down both parties. So for that all I can say, because that's how I feel and that's how it should be. As long you are not, and most of the time, most of the countries around the world, people who go in as negotiators, they are always biased. They always lay on one side, and as a result, you always see the reoccurrence of self conflict.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Thank you for your perspective on that issue. All right. So you as an individual or a diplomat, I want you to share your personal experience with us, right? Were there a time that you saw yourself on a round table to negotiate some tough problems? Were there a time that you saw yourself on a round table that um, you play the role as a lead negotiator, and then things didn't go well, or things were more tough as you perceive it? If so, how did you wrap your heads around it? How did you get to a point where, an amicable solution were reached?
Okay, to be frank with you, having found myself in that high positions in terms of resolving uh, conflict, but I've experienced some mini level of conflict that is between organizations. I can remember when I was, still in school when I was doing my bachelor's, there was a conflict in the Liberian community. Anybody in the Liberian community are following, from Uganda, they know this story. There was a conflict in the Liberian community. So previously, when I went to Uganda, things became tough, and I certain point in time, it was very difficult for me. So the chairman at that time was chipping in financially. So there was a conflict in the leadership, and almost 60 to 75% of the Liberian community wanted the chairman. So when they brought me and other colleagues, to try to resolve the problems, at that time, one of the things we did was that the first thing we did, we call the chairman and making the understand that, hey, chief, even though you've been supportive to some of us, okay, in terms of, finances and other chippings as a student, as a student, you cannot do and do, but as long the people are, angry and they are giving genuine reason why you should not be, the chairman of the Liberian committee will advise that, you step aside or appoint an interim leadership to conduct. Somebody got to be honest with people, okay? To value all depends, and that it shouldn't depend on your own interest. Like I said, as a diplomat and a servant leader, don't always put your own interest above other people's interest. Always put other people's interest, above your own to have, a suitable environment. So at that point in time, even though when we were making that decision, when we were saying that thing, we knew that in his mind, he was like, but the picking never have been happy. That didn't want to see from me and tell me say, and I'm at a point, probably he expected us to, no, people don't mind people they causing no. They don't mind people they causing no that what can cause chaos and they can escalate conflict to a level where it can be uncontrollable. So from the beginning, always learn to put your personal interest, below the interest of, the broader, environment or the broader, yeah. So in that point, I have to sacrifice, even though I believe that was the right thing to do at that time, but I have not found myself, as a lead negotiator, to but I hope one day I can find myself in this situation, and the best thing I would do is to put, the interest of the majority above my personal interest. That is the good thing to do. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so that does it for the Q&A session. Thank you so much, Honorable Guanue, for your responses towards all of the questions that was asked. So we move to the next aspect of our agenda that has to do with remarks. We will take two remarks from the audience, one male, one female, scatter. So if we are following, we'll start with the males. One person can just speak on behalf of the males, and another person can speak on behalf of the female. Are we there? Hello? Am I being heard? Are we all sleeping?
We can hear you.
If you are following, yeah, drop one in the chat box. If you are still following, just drop one. Okay, yeah. Honorable Sonny Akwe is following. Asha Prezo is following. Honorable Dixon is following. Honorable Johnson is following. So when they get 4 people are following. All right, so who's speaking on behalf of the males? The females, are you guys ready? One person can speak on behalf of the females since our men stay still drinking tea. Can we get one female speaking on behalf of all of the women? Women or women? Women or women?
Yeah, I'm Konita Johnson on behalf of the females we have here. Since the males are still sleeping, I want to appreciate our honorable speaker, Mr. Aaron Guanue, for that knowledge you have impacted in us tonight. And I'm sure that we are going to take those important information very, very seriously and see how best we can implement it in our areas of, expertise as leaders, as those who, are in, or those who have that responsibility of, leading others and rendering services. So thank you so much. We highly appreciate it.
Okay. Where are many? Who's speaking on behalf of the males? We have Honorable Avin on the platform. We have Honorable Kuhn on the platform. Gabriel is here. We have Jairus. Jeremiah is here. Okay, so we move to the NDC for remark.
Honorable VP, are you here? Honorable VP? Okay, so to our honorable speaker, Guanue, thank you for honoring the invitation to be here today. And thanks to the staffers and ambassador there for the Liberian embassy near Paris for also probably permitting you to be here with us today. And by extension, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, headed by Honorable Beslo Yanti. You have shared, and it's important that we as scholars here in China, a place that you once studied, a place that you once navigated, and even being with us as LSUIC, a group and an association, a union that you understood the struggles, you understood the workings of the union. You know, it's amazing to see you with us here today, not just as a student, not just as a scholar or not just as a veteran, but a very impactful person contributing to the growth and development of Liberia there in the diaspora. We highly appreciate you, and it is our hope and our prayer that God continue to elevate you to new heights. It is our hope and our prayer that you keep excelling in every other thing that you have to do and things to come. We are optimistic that this will not be the last time, but then to also get you back with us, probably on another edition or in some other ways. Thank you so much, and let's keep in touch. On behalf of the students and the NEC, we want to say thank you, and may God bless you.
All right, on behalf of the students and the NEC, I want to say thank you and God bless you. So we take a remark or a parting statement from our honorable guest speaker, Honorable Guanue.
Thank you, and thanks to all of our participants. Let me use this medium again to thank the LUSU leadership headed by His Excellency Mr. Bloch. I'm very grateful to be recognized by the leadership to share my late thought. And I want to thank you all who took your busy schedule to listen to me via this platform, via Facebook, and what have you. I'm grateful to you all, and continue to do what you've been doing, Lusu, because I can remember I followed your show when you hosted my comrade Martin Colley, you hosted Madison Lamy, and the list go on. Keep doing what you do, and where we sit, we are all connected. If any other, assistant or whatever, situations that Lusu made, name some of us, they reach out to us. If we have the means to, respond, we will do that by the grace of God. And we hope and pray that tonight, take away the ugly one that I said, and try to pick up the few points that you believe was necessary to you, and build on it. And we pray that all of us will contribute, even though we are doing it, but at a very high level, to promote the interests of Liberia and our people. So Liberia belongs to us, and we, the young people, we need to take charge. We need to work in the interest of our country. We need to be honest. At some point now, it will be challenging. There will be an issue. Some obstacles will come our way. But whenever it comes to the interest of Liberia, we should put our interests below that and prioritize the interests of our country. To ensure, because some of like you and myself, we are blessed to be to where we are. It's not because we are smart, it's not because we deserve it, even though we deserve it at some point now based on our qualification, experience, or education. But other people, could be to where we are, and they are trying to be to where we are. Unfortunately, God has not been able to smile with them to get to where we are. So at this point, we should all, strive to, help contribute back in any positive means, that will uplift, Liberians, to a level where tomorrow we'll sit and be proud of ourselves as a country, we'll be proud of ourselves as a people who discussing among our colleagues from around the world. We'll be proud to say things that will make them to believe, based on evidence or, whatever we will show to them. So I want to say thank you, again, Mr. President and your team. I appreciate these invitations, and may God bless you. May God continue to guide you. May God continue to allow you to lead the Liberian students in China in a very prospective way, that even tomorrow, somebody who will succeed you tomorrow will be able to build on what you are, building today. So again, thank you again for the invitation on behalf of my family. And I want to say Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year. Enjoy your holidays. And I'm prepared and ready anytime I'm called upon. Thank you again, Mr. President, and your team. I appreciate you. Let God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. President, and your team. I appreciate you. That God bless you in our Liberian way. So that was the last words of our speaker. So thank you, Honorable Guanue, for the time. Thank you, LSURC. Thanks to all of our participants that show up today. I've been your Homo MC, C. Nathaniel Wally II, alas, Wally II, National Secretary General of LSURC. Do have yourself a God blessed night.